Welcome to the latest episode of the podcast that wouldn't die. I'm your host, Kevin. With me, as always, is Aaron.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Tonight, we will discuss the sci-fi classic They Live, starring Rowdy Roddy Piper and some other people. Thank you for joining us. So go to our page on Facebook at the podcast that wouldn't die. Go to our page on Twitter at TPodcastTWDie. Like, share, subscribe. We're on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. You can also email us at the podcast that wouldn't die at Gmail. And Aaron, you also have a personal Twitter account.
The Cult of Aaron.
There it is. Let the good times roll. So send her a line just to say what's up. You know, what you doing?
That's right. Say you, say me.
Say it together. Naturally. Anywho, why don't you give us the 30-second synopsis of They Live?
Apparently, one, there's homeless people in the 80s in Los Angeles. Still. Or still now. I don't know. And aliens are overlords. And Hobo Joe uncovers this resistance that figured out how to see the aliens. Apparently, that's all they do. And the aliens don't like that. And they try to get rid of the resistance. And the end.
Very good.
It doesn't really end. We don't know why the aliens are here, except to make us lazy. But we may have been lazy already. It could be like WALL-E.
Right.
Maybe They Live and WALL-E are related. That's just their final go there. We're on our little scooters. But there's no resolution. No. The whole story is they find a way to see who is alien, who's not alien.
Right. Basically. That's the grand climax at the end of the movie.
All we know is that we want the aliens want us calm. It's kind of like the Matrix, just chill, leave us alone so we can do whatever it is that we don't know what you're doing to us, but we need to be calm.
It's like complacency. It's obey. It's do not, resist authority kind of thing.
I told you, I think I'm going to make these signs up. My whole color scheme in the classroom next year is black, white, and gray with just these signs. Obey.
Marry and procreate.
Well, they're already doing that. I don't need a sign for that.
Oh, Lord. So, go for
it. Interesting. So,
had you seen this before?
I have never seen this movie before.
Okay.
And both like and don't like it at the same time. How about that? It's very confusing. Like, there's parts of it that are fantastic. And other parts where you're like, oh, Lord. This could have been... Rowdy Roddy Piper could have been played by...
an actor?
An actor, one... Wrestling's all acting, right?
That's what they say.
But it could have been Kurt Russell. This could be like a prequel to Big Trouble in Little China or something like that. Didn't you get that kind of a vibe? Like it could have been replaced with that actor.
It could be. I mean, they definitely had the similar mullet.
They had the mullet. They had the blonde waves. Rowdy Roddy Piper probably got about 70 pounds on old Kurt, though.
He does. I think that's kind of an important thing when they have the big alley fight.
Oh God!
That was. I think on some level, if it was Kurt fighting the dude, it would have seemed like a mismatch.
Okay, we gotta just start talking about this because I can't start giving my opinions about the middle of the movie right before we've even really started the shenanigans. But like I said, there are parts of this that are amazing. Like this could have been remade more seriously, and it could have been really badass.
I don't disagree. Now, jumping right in, Roddy Piper is a nameless hobo that literally has been. Well, if you look in the credits, they finally give him a name. Although nada, of course, means nothing in Spanish. So what does that mean? We see him literally riding the rails to Southern California. He jumps off with his backpack, makes his way to a construction site. He's a homeless guy, but luckily he's able to get some work at the construction site. And while he's there, he meets Frank, played by Keith David, another guy who's been in a few John Carpenter movies. And he hey, if you need a place to stay, there is, I'll take you to a place. And he takes him to like this vacant lot, which is basically just peopled with homeless people. So
yeah, you were going to sleep under a bridge, but instead you could sleep in an open field.
That's basically what it is. I think when you say, I know a place you could stay,
I thought he was taking her to a flop house.
Right. Or something. There's a soup kitchen.
A roof.
Right, a roof. Not just cardboard boxes.
Is on fire. But they have a TV out in the field. What are they generating with that? With urine and old batteries?
Pretty much. Well, I'm not sure that's how science works, but okay. I'll take that. Evidently, there's a church across the street that also like hands out food and things.
And runs an extension cord out? Is that it?
I guess. It's hard to know what's going on. But they
just plug it into the dirt in the ground? Is that how science works?
That's what it is. But we learn about how these guys, Frank and Roddy Piper, were guys who'd worked for 10 years.
No. You got to say Roddy Piper.
Rowdy. I'm not going to go through all that every time I mention him. I might just call him Rod and be done with it. They like lament how, Roddy was living in Denver, worked for 10 years, and then the factory closed. Frank was working in Detroit for years, got a wife and kids back there, but then the factory closed, and now they're just kind of, homeless and
tell me,
day laborers.
If the overlords wanted complacent, they wouldn't have all these homeless people and unemployed people. They'd figure out a way to keep people employed, so they shut their mouths and sit in their houses and watch their TVs.
Well, we're going to talk more about this in the behind the scenes. Or
will we?
Well, yes, we will, but you're right. You think they would, if they wanted everybody complacent, then they would make it so that people could be complacent, not scrounging for scraps in the trash
Make
can.
it a little easier if you want to calm everybody down. Yeah, there are some severe, nonsensical parts to this, like the beginning, middle, and the end. But
otherwise, it's brilliant. It's brilliant.
John Carpenter says it's a documentary.
It absolutely is. No question. So they're talking about that. Meanwhile, some other homies are watching the outdoor TV, watching, I don't know, commercials and things like that. But suddenly static appears, and there's some dude talking about how, nonsense conspiracy theories about how there's there's people taking over and they want you sedated and da-da-da-da. But meanwhile, people watching get like a headache watching it. So they change the channel. But Roddy Piper, who I don't know if we ever actually see him sleep. He's just kind of wandering around looking at things.
With his high-waisted mom jeans.
Right. Exactly. That was the style back in '88 for the homeless community. He sees like an old street preacher over there, blind street preacher who's like saying the same things as this face on the TV, the same conspiracy theories. How the blind preacher is involved in this, it's hard to say, because I'm not sure he brings a lot to the table. I mean, no offense, blind street preacher.
Right.
But he notices that there's something going on at that church across the way. Later, he goes in there because, he hears like seemingly services are being held. But he goes in.
He's like, break it in. I'm like, this dude's Sketchy McSketch.
Well, the door is open. He walks in there and he sees their speakers playing the services.
Yeah, but the way he crept up on it, you can just walk into churches. You don't have to sneak around the back door, check to see if anybody's looking, and then slip in.
Well, because he thought something was crazy, something sketchy was about this. But here's my question to you. If you're having a fake church where you're pumping out fake music, I might lock the door. I'm not leaving the front door wide open for randos to walk in
And you
open
don't
to prayer.
you don't have the fake music going at 4 a.m. because now you look like a cult, and that's going to stir curiosity. How about we just lock the effing doors and don't have any singing? I mean, there's a homeless encampment outside. Unless you're doing homeless outreach, they're going to notice if nobody comes to church, but music starts singing.
Right. These are important questions. While Roddy's inside the fake church, he stumbles upon the sunglasses, the immortal sunglasses. Finds a box of them. Cops are pulling up. They're raiding the church.
They're like Chinese knockoff Ray-Bans.
Yeah, they're rough. They're not good looking Sunnies. I guess the idea is they couldn't just be Ray-Bans. They had to be distinctive enough that if you saw somebody else wearing them, then you'd know. Oh, okay, so you're in on this. You know something's up. I guess, right? I don't know. Maybe they were just cheaper. But the cops arrive. They're bulldozing the homeless encampment. They're rousting the people. They're beating up the blind priest, street preacher. They're beating up people. Rowdy grabs a cardboard box out of the church and runs off with it. And that's when he opens it up to discover it's full of these sunglasses, which he's confused by it. But he puts on the sunglasses.
You're a hobo. At the very least, you think you could sell them, right?
Right? You were eating out of a garbage can yesterday.
Dude! At he's walking down the street with these glasses, and his whole mannerism is now, what am I going to do with this? He kind of opens them, closes, look at them. They're freaking sunglasses. Put them on. He literally looked at them like, what am I supposed to do with this?
But do they protect both AVA and AVB rays?
I hope he stared right in the sun and burned his retinas out.
Are they blue blockers? I mean, what's going on?
Get you some blue blockers.
I'm a hip hopper in my blue blockers. But he puts on the sunglasses, and now he notices that things are not the way they appear. All the street signs, magazines on the rack, all have secret subliminal messages.
And this is where it started getting good.
This is where he realizes
that's the best. Whoever did the special effects that did this kind of whatever they call this kind of design work was spot on rock and roll. It was 12 steps higher than the rest of this movie. Am I right or am I wrong? It is. It's on a whole different level than the rest of this movie.
Well, I mean, the first 30 minutes is just life as a homeless person. So it's a sad situation.
Are you denying what I'm saying? Because it sounds
I'm kind of denying it. I think this movie is brilliant.
I'm not saying
front, forward, back.
Saying that, but this part with the glasses where you see everything,
right?
I thought it was so much better than say the acting or the story.
I don't disagree. Clearly, they started with
How about you
premise.
just agree? How about you just agree?
I'd rather not.
I don't disagree with your ramblings.
I don't want it to go to your head, okay? But clearly, this is, in my mind, this is where somebody came up with the idea of what if you had sunglasses and you put them on, you could see things that other people couldn't see. That was kind of the premise.
They had glasses like that. Remember that? You get them in the Mad magazine or something. They were blue or red, and then you looked
specs.
but then you looked, and then whatever the color, the glasses you have, then you could see something in the magazine that you didn't see.
Oh, that's true. Yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do. Your Penn and Teller book, right? Wasn't there stuff like that?
Yeah, my Penn and Teller had that. Mad magazine sometimes, or some of those things would happen.
Right. The pictures would pop out that you could only see with these glasses.
Yes.
So he's looking around and he sees obey, consume, marry and procreate, all sorts of interesting things.
The money says this is your God.
Right.
It was some good stuff.
It was good stuff. But strangest thing of all is he's noticing there's also homies running around who look like weird skeleton creatures.
Yes.
Pulling up in their Mercedes, wearing their Armani suits, but they have weird skeleton faces.
Yeah, super creepy with little rice teeth.
Yes.
If you go on the internet, they have like Trump like that. They have all these series of posters you can buy of these little creatures of famous people.
I'm sure. And so he's like taking off the glasses, looking again and again. What's going on? Without the glasses, they look perfectly normal. With the glasses, they're these crazy creatures.
And this dude is such a bust. Literally, if I have some glasses and some people look like monsters, I wouldn't be like, "Oh, you're jacked up." I mean, it's so freaking This is why he's homeless.
Right.
This is why he's floating from job to job, because he's stupid.
Right. He wanders into a liquor store, and there's a crazy mutant there wearing a fur coat, and she's like, "What are you looking at?" And he's like, "Lady, you look messed up. You look okay, but she looks like dog food or something." So he says some crazy comment. Later, some woman's walking by, another mutant. She's like fixing her hair, and that's like putting perfume on a pig. So eventually,
the frickin' aliens go, "Hey, he's over here. He sees us."
right, we got somebody who can see. They're talking into their Dick Tracy wristwatches, and they're saying, "We've got one that can see. We've got one that can see." So he gets assaulted by two cops, puts on the glasses, and he sees they're crazy alien cops. He manages to overpower them. They have guns, mind you. He overpowers them and shoots them and takes their guns and is now walking down the street with the guns and the shotguns wearing the...
Because even in the 80s, nobody cared if you had just like a shotgun walking down LA. Come on, people.
I mean, in Texas, it's almost expected.
This ain't Texas.
Right, this is true. He stumbles into a bank and sees people, again, normal
He's
people.
Just randomly shooting. Okay, first of all, he doesn't really know much about these folks at all, about what's the story with the aliens, but he's just going to go on a killing spree.
Well, this is the thing. So he walks into there, and he says his immortal line, "I'm here to kick ass and chew bubblegum, and I'm all out of bubblegum."
Oh, God.
He improvised.
I hope
that
they
line.
put that on his grave.
That's true. Well, he brought some of that wrestling heel stuff with him, and any kind of off the wall one liner was a Roddy Piper original.
Oh, God.
So he starts gunning down the aliens left and right, boom, boom, boom. But to everyone else, it's like he's a mass murderer. He's just some dude who went nuts with his gun and just started shooting people. Then he bumps into his buddy, Frank again. And again, Frank thinks he's a mass murderer. And he tells him, "Get out of here. Everyone's looking for you. I can't be seen with you. I've got a family, blah, blah, blah." Frank's nice enough to give him 1 week's pay. Just to say, get out, get lost. I only met you yesterday, but now I'm giving you money. Even though I think you're a mass murderer, even though now you're revealed as a mass murderer, I'm still kind of okay with you. Roddy tries to get him to put on the glasses, but he won't put them on.
He literally beats the shit out of the only person who gave him a job.
Yes.
And money.
Yes. And a place to stay.
And a place to stay in order to make him put glasses on.
Well, it was almost like, just put the glasses on. Are we really going to fight over this? You know what I'm saying? It was like literally...
And for so long.
So
long.
Yes. Originally, the fight was supposed to last 30 seconds. But they went and choreographed this thing. And it went, I swear to God, 15 minutes of them fighting each other. And they faked the face punches and the groin shots, thankfully. But everything else was fairly they really took some hits in there as part of the deal. After 15 minutes of fighting, he finally forces the glasses on Frank, so now Frank can see everything. So now they're cool again. I know they just beat the crap out of each other for 15 minutes.
For over and over and over. Oh my God.
So they go check into a flea bag motel, which evidently they've got money now. That thankfully they were sleeping in a cardboard box the day before, and talk about their life again. Roddy Piper's like, hey, I had problems with my dad growing up. What does this have to do with anything? Thanks for sharing. I hit the road when I was 13. It's like, okay, well, there are aliens out and about. Why don't we focus on that? No, not so much. Okay. But they bump into another dude that they remember from the soup kitchen who's also wearing the glasses. And he says, hey, we're going to be meeting later at this place at 11 o'clock. We're going to discuss our next plans. Okay? Earlier in the movie, when Roddy Piper was trying to evade the cops after his killing spree, he kidnapped a crazy blue-eyed woman.
Oh yeah, she was always famous for her crazy eyes, but she didn't age so well.
You've seen her before. She's been in a few other things, but it's like her eyes are freakishly blue.
Yeah, with what's freaky is that they have this dark outline around the iris.
Well, they're so light that they're almost like she's a vampire or something. It's the craziest thing. So he kidnaps her and goes back to her apartment, and he tries to tell her, I'm not really a murderer. These are all aliens. And like any reasonable person, she bashes him on the head with a champagne bottle and pushes him out the window. Later,
I was like, whoa.
It escalated quickly.
I would say so.
What are you going to do? He's like sitting there about to fall asleep on her couch, and she's just standing there looking at him. It's like, are you kidnapping her? So maybe, I don't know. I mean, what is the plan here? Are we going to tie her up? Because otherwise you're falling asleep with guns in your hand with a stranger. I don't know what the plan is. So later at this meeting, they walk in there and they're talking about, we don't know what they want. We just know that they're projecting a signal from somewhere in the city, which allows people to see them.
She was in Blind Fury.
She was in the Masters of the Universe movie as well.
Okay, I didn't see that.
You saw that one. You've only seen Rutger Hauer's movies. Clearly,
clearly.
That's the only.
I literally went through this list of nonsensical things that she was in because she looks so familiar. And I'm looking at this list. I mean, she was in the Mod Squad. Do I remember that now?
Like the TV series, the Mod Squad from the 70s?
Dig this. Mod Squad, Bonanza.
Oh, Lord.
Let's see. Do you know there was a Sixth Sense in 1972? Cannon, Barnaby Jones.
Know it well.
Hawaii Five-0, Streets of San Francisco, Beretta.
Mannix.
Twilight Zone. Murder, She Wrote.
McCloud?
Miami Vice. It's
Kojak.
coming. Quantum Leap, ER, Murder, She Wrote, Star Trek, Deep Space Nine, because everybody. Hercules, The Legendary Journeys, remember that?
She's the hardest working woman in show business.
She played Hera in both Hercules and Xena Warrior Princess, Pretty Little Liars, and Twin Peaks.
We got it. I always thought...
so this is it. In the pilot for Cagney and Lacey, Sharon Glass replaced her when the series got picked up.
I think I did know Sharon Glass was a replacement. Don't ask me how. I know
she did like 6 episodes and then got replaced. Bizarre. Anyway,
I always thought her name's Meg Foster, and I always thought she was kind of false Kirstie Alley. Is what I thought. Like when she'd pop up on things,
I can see that.
But her eyes, the eyes are what set her apart because they're so pale blue that it's to almost a freakish degree.
Yeah, she had beautiful eyes back in the day. Now I think they fell out.
Her eyeballs just fell out. Very
sad. Fell out.
So at this meeting, Frank and Roddy Piper are loading up Uzis and grenades and have them laid out on the table. Oh, we have to get rid of the signal. Oh, I think it's at that TV station, Channel 54. And then, boom, there's Holly, which is Meg Foster's character. It's like, oh no, I work at Studio 54, and it's not coming from there. All very. It's like, really, that's convenient. You just threw me out the window yesterday. Later, she's like, oh well, I just didn't know. Now I know. You've shown me the light, psycho killer that I bashed on the head and threw out my window. Now I'm on board. You smooth talker.
You're gonna kill me, but we're going back to Meg Foster. I literally started googling Meg Foster's eyes, and the first thing that pops up was what's wrong with Meg Foster's eyes. She has hyper blue eyes, and they're so distracting for some directors that she has been forced to wear lenses to reduce their effect.
Because they're unnatural. They are unnaturally blue.
They're kind of like Cal Ripken, because he had those devilly blue eyes too.
The exact same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
All right, back to your business.
So they're like, well, I don't know what we're going to do now. Meanwhile, bang, the cops raid the place. But they're not arresting people. They come in with machine guns and just start shooting everybody.
That's how you knew it was L.A.
There you go.
It hasn't changed a lot since L.A. Confidential.
It's a very sad situation. At this meeting, before the cops come and start blowing everybody away, they realize they don't have to wear the glasses anymore because now we have contacts. So they pop the contacts in the eye. And watching Roddy Piper and Keith David try to pop contacts in their eyes is a hilarious moment.
And I love this. These were all created by like 3 guys at a church with like 2 beakers.
Exactly.
And a Bunsen burner. They're just wizards. They're wizards.
Well, the blind street preacher helped out when he could. You're right. It's like 3 guys in a soup kitchen mastermind all this stuff.
And now they know how to make contact lenses. Or do you think there's hard contacts or soft contacts?
I'm thinking soft, but who's to say?
Is it the kind I have to I can throw away and replace every day, or is it the kind I have to put in the weird cup? I don't wear contacts, so I don't know.
Put them in a weird cup. Why not?
Are they dailies?
Oh, sweet Jesus!
I drank Mom's hard contact lenses in Lake Arrowhead one year.
Oh, that's lovely. How'd it taste?
There was a cup of water above the sink, and I just took it and drank it. And then Mom walked up to me and was like, she had hard contact lenses. Didn't taste them at all.
Did she check your stool? I mean, what do you do?
She did not check my stool.
I guess that's something to be thankful for.
Exactly, but she was not pleased. Let's just say that. I'm like, well, who the hell puts their contacts in a cup of water?
People who want their contacts moist, I guess.
Not people with 7 children, I'll tell you that right there.
A better question is, what kind of random person just goes around drinking random cups of liquid that they are unfamiliar with? It could have been bleach. It could have been anything.
If it was bleach, I would have smelled it.
Who's to say?
Who's to say? Special unscented bleach just for poisonings.
Pretty much. Okay, Frank and Holly, and I'm just calling him Roddy Piper. They escape.
Roddy Piper.
Roddy Piper. They escape by shooting their way, killing the cops. All the cops are scary aliens, basically, and they're all around them. There's no warning shots. There's no stop or I'll shoot. None of that. It's just assassination.
Yeah.
Frank had grabbed one of these fancy Rolex watches that all the aliens wear because they discovered they're not just good for communication like Dick Tracy, but if you do something to them, it opens up like a portal and you can teleport away to safety.
Yeah, it's very Star Trek-y, and instead of having the little button you push, you have a watch you can whistle. It seems to me like I've seen another movie where you twist your watch and something happens. It's very James Bondy.
It's very James Bondy.
If James Bond could teleport.
Roddy Piper at this point is absolutely obsessed with Holly for some reason. Like he's acting like she's his long lost love, even though they literally just met the day before, and he kidnapped her and she hit him in the head, and she tried to murder him. Now he's like, I gotta go back for Holly. Frank's like, are you out of your mind? You don't even know her.
There are no other women in this movie.
Right.
And she's got the witch eyes. She's obviously hooked him with her witch eyes.
That is true. She hypnotized him. So Frank and Roddy Piper are pinned down, but luckily Frank is able to get the watch to work, and it opens up a magical door in a hole in the ground, and they jump into it and are now underground, like in an underground tunnel or something, right? They follow the sounds of the noise, and there's like a huge party going on, like a huge banquet. And in the, there's the aliens kind of talking about, we're doing so well, we're taking over the world little by little, and you, the elite humans, will be well taken care of. And you see in the crowd, there's all these like wealthy people who have essentially happily given away humanity.
Yeah.
For wealth and comfort, essentially.
To up their portfolio by 39%.
That's correct. While they're there, Crazy Hobo Jim, who was at the hobo encampment earlier in the movies, pops up behind him wearing a fancy tuxedo. He goes, "Hey, guys, I'm glad to see you guys are on board, too. You could have dressed up for the evening, though. We can afford it now."
His presence makes no sense.
It makes absolutely no sense.
Because this is supposed to be the wealthiest of the wealthiest people.
Right.
That have sold humanity out to line their pockets.
Right.
So what the hell is Hobo Joe doing there?
This is the thing. It's like, I understand, okay, you're the mayor, okay, you run the TV station. I'm going to bribe you to get you on my side to do what I want. Crazy Hobo Jim at the encampment, what is he bringing to the table?
An army of hobos? Yeah, it has no reason to be there. And there's no security. You can just roll into this biz.
They did.
Where they're talking about aliens and humans. Right there.
Yeah.
And what about the wait staff?
It's all hard to say. It's hard to say what's going on. Somehow, Hobo Jim is in there like, "Hey, I'm on board. Granted, I was sleeping in a cardboard box yesterday, and I bring absolutely nothing to the table that the aliens could possibly want. But now I'm super wealthy. So clearly you guys were on board with this as well. Very strange.
Makes no goddamn sense.
Makes no sense. So Hobo Jim says, "Hey, let me show you around." Takes him to a room. Here's where the signal comes out.
Yeah, this is like, Mr. Bond, right before I kill you, let me tell you the secrets and the ways to defeat me.
Exactly. Well, I mean, okay. So they took Hobo Jim. They made him wealthy in a matter of hours, super wealthy, and told him their entire operation in the last 2 hours.
And here are the secret rooms and this and that.
And he leads them. Okay, and here's the studio. Oh, before we see the studio, he shows them like a weird teleportation room, which makes absolutely no sense because you see like the universe in the distance, right?
Even though they're at a hotel.
Even though they're in the basement of the television station. There is like they're in a satellite. You see like stars going off in the distance. It's like, what kind of place is this? Okay, so then he leads them to the television studio room, and there's 2 crazy guards there, mutant alien guards who are guarding it, the entrance to the studio. And Hobo Jim's like, "Hey, guys, why don't you let my friends go in there? They've never seen a TV studio before." And the guys are like, be serious. Hey, let me see your papers. Where are your papers? Finally, security.
We don't need no stinking papers.
They said, "Oh, here's our papers," and then gun down the cops.
Yeah, the murder rampage starts up again.
It starts up again, and so there's a scene. So again, through the window, you see the news reporters doing their thing. They just shot down 2 security guards, and nobody flinches. Luckily, they knock on the glass to go, "Oh, soundproof. Soundproof." A foot away, there's just a regular old door. Not so soundproof, right? Cardboard door right there. Interesting. I think the sound's probably still going to drift into the room there where everyone else can hear it. So good times. Luckily, they throw a grenade because again, they have grenades as well, and start going on their rampage. They start gunning people down. Shooting. They don't shoot the collaborating people, though. They don't do that. They let anybody like Hobo Jim. He teleports away. I don't think we even see him again. He's just free to live his life as a wealthy person, I guess.
There you go. He's gone to Paris.
So they're running through the studio, trying to get to the roof where they know the satellite is. Because now they know, okay, so that's the signal. And that also should have been our clue, because remember earlier, Holly said, "Oh, the signal's not coming from the TV studio." They see Holly, they grab her, they're like, "We're going up to take care of the satellite." She said, "Okay, sounds good." Again, these guys have become like Rambo and Arnold Schwarzenegger all rolled into one. Two guys, and they must murder 30 armed security guards with machine guns, one right after another. Boom, boom, boom. Good thing for them, the security guards literally just jump out. "Hey, here I am, shoot me," kind of move. Maybe hide behind something. I don't know. Who's to say? I'm not a military strategist after all. They start going up the stairs to get to the ceiling. And then the big twist. The big twist. Holly pulls out her gun and murders old Frank. Shoots him as Rowdy Piper is going up to the roof. I guess Rowdy doesn't hear the gunshot? I don't know.
He hears what he wants to hear. He's still hypnotized by her witch eyes.
By her witch eyes. So he goes upstairs. Oh, sweet Lord. A helicopter's
by her Cal
there.
Ripken Jr. eyes.
That's all you need. So he pulls out like literally his little handgun. He's going to shoot the satellite dish. I'm a little skeptical that would do zippity doo-dah. His little handgun.
Let me talk about that for a second,
Please.
because I think you neglected to mention, we start to realize at the beginning of the movie there's trouble because they're trying to do like this radio-free Europe kind of a thing.
Right.
Where they're trying to break through, where a crazy like Wally George is coming through telling you the secrets. It's almost like, not Wally George, but the dude from the desert. Remember
The dude from the desert.
The dude from the desert who would always talk about aliens and stuff.
Morton Downey Jr.?
Not Morton Downey Jr. Coast to coast.
Robert Downey Jr.?
No, coast to coast.
This means nothing to me. Move on.
Oh, my God. He's from a bunker in the desert. It comes on late after night on AM radio. This is 20 years ago. And it would all be Ouija boards, aliens, Bigfoot, people calling in with their theories.
Okay.
Oh my God, I can't believe you've never heard this. I'll be sending you a link to this later.
Please do. And all of our listeners as well.
It was the best thing when you had to drive late at night. You could just count on that. It was good alien talk.
So what's the point?
Well, it's like that.
Oh, okay.
They're breaking through the radios, the main stations.
Okay.
LA has 900 UHF. Why would you have to break through one of their systems? Why don't you just go on the UHF?
Who the hell knows? But they're trying. So the signal's not just the messages, but they've got to get rid of the signal so that everyone can see what the aliens really look like.
Oh,
that's
so it's
the idea.
That's what I couldn't understand how everybody could see at the end.
That's what it was. So they got rid of so he is about.
How did they figure that out?
Because they were talking about how did they build crazy contact lenses that allow them to see the aliens?
Maybe they have witch eyes too. I don't know.
There's nobody in this movie who really sits down Roddy Piper and says, "Here's what's going on." There's no that guy, right?
How do they figure out there's aliens to begin with?
These are all excellent questions. Again, all we got is what Roddy Piper figures out just by happening to have a pair of off-market Ray-Bans and discovers the truth, basically.
The blue blockers.
It's all about the blue blockers.
All we know is that aliens want us to spend money, have sex, and watch TV. That's all.
Well, the one crazy dude who pops up on the TVs says that we're basically livestock.
But for these aliens. There's nothing to back this up. People are not disappearing. You don't see people eating them. Wouldn't they start with the homeless people?
You're right, because there isn't anybody disappearing, but they kind of suppose that either they want us for food or slaves or whatever, and how they're the locusts of space. They go to a planet.
And how do they know that?
This is not explained. None of this is explained. And Roddy Piper, not the most inquisitive guy. He doesn't ask too many questions. He says, "Give me the gun. Let me handle this."
I mean, Roddy Piper, rest his soul, may have been a genius, but his character is a dim bulb.
He is. No question. So he's about to shoot the satellite. Holly reappears behind him, now fully on board. Like, yeah, I killed your buddy. Now we're going to have a conversation. I could have just shot you a minute ago, but for some reason we're going to have a conversation. Meanwhile,
Is she
the helicopter.
recruiting them for the overlords?
Who knows?
Or just delaying him?
Who knows? She's got a gun on him. A helicopter pulls up with like a machine gun aimed at him, and they're all saying, hey, if you shoot that satellite, we're gonna kill you. Don't you do it. So he shoots the satellite. They gun him down. Satellite goes up in flames. Boom. Boom. Like he had explosive bullets in his little 22, evidently. It's hard to say. They shoot him, but he survives long enough to lean forward and like flip off the helicopter, I guess.
So that's important.
That was very important. Smash cut all over town. Now these people, you can see that they're aliens. Like there's a dude in the bar, he's an alien, everyone's freaking out. People are watching the news and they're the aliens. People are running off, us screaming. There's, of course, a lovely scene where a woman's knocking boots while watching the news, evidently.
And looks down.
Hey, baby, what's wrong? And he's a crazy alien creature.
With an afro.
With a big afro. Good times. And
the end.
The end. Credits. Credits roll. So, any other observations before we cut to behind the scenes?
Yeah, you just keep rolling right on to behind the scenes.
We talked about how Roddy Piper basically ad-libbed all of his one-liners.
Is that because he can't read? Or?
He cannot read. It was sad. They didn't realize that at the time. No,
it's sad, so sad, so sad.
When I was a kid, I watched a little professional wrestling in the 80s. And the big hero of professional wrestling was Hulk Hogan.
Yes.
He was what they called the face. He was the hero. The guy who was always the main villain, the heel in wrestling lingo, was Roddy Piper.
I didn't know that.
Absolutely.
Because I didn't watch any wrestling.
Then how would you know anything about it?
Because they literally had cartoons.
They did.
These people, even though I never watched wrestling, especially Hulk Hogan, and Fred Blassie, of course.
Classy.
These people, Classy Blassie, they were everywhere, all the time. Plus, there was a Cyndi Lauper brought wrestling to the forefront with her Girls Just Want to Have Fun with
Captain Lou Albano.
So
they were everywhere.
Yeah, it was a thing.
It was very much a thing. And Hulk Hogan had been in movies before this, but I'd be hard pressed. I believe this was the first really I'm the star of the show for any of those guys.
And I'm not playing myself.
And I'm not I'm not playing Thunder Lips and Rocky 3. I am, I'm an actor, I guess, theoretically.
I am an actor.
Damn it. So what's interesting is that they wanted, when they were writing this and casting it, they wanted a character to be not a traditional sidekick. They wanted Frank not to be like the boy wonder, but to be kind of an equal. Two big strapping guys who could handle the aliens together. Like not have one be, Robin the boy wonder, but they're both kind of on the same sides.
That's right. And Ebony and Ivory.
Ebony and Ivory. Now, so he went and hired Keith David, who was in what movie?
I have no idea.
How about John Carpenter's The Thing?
Oh, that's right.
He played Childs, the cantankerous flamethrower operator.
Oh, God. I pretty much blacked that movie out.
Oh, how dare you. How dare you. So this was, there was a series of movies that John Carpenter did that supposedly dealt with the end of the world. And this was one of those movies. The Thing was one of them. They Live was one of them. But what's interesting is that the theme of They Live dealt with kind of a rebuke to Reaganomics.
Of course, the 80s. You're too young to remember. But, I was living in the Bay Area. Where was my sob? It was all about excessive consumption. It
Right.
was truly the time of keeping up with the Joneses.
Absolutely.
It was, you got equity in your house, pull it out. Pull it out and use it. Get another loan. Get a second on your house. You deserve it. Everyone should have a 7 Series BMW. I took Mom's BMW.
The yuppies.
Yuppies. This is the rise of the yuppies. I remember this was like, it was the end of the 80s, but it was just right when things were starting to turn bad. I remember working at Apple Computer and looking at the corporate cars, the one that the middle and upper management got on the company dime. These were huge Mercedes, huge BMWs, Saabs, and these were just perks of the job.
Where it's like people sacrificing their empathy and their humanity for bigger houses, nicer cars, right? The whole deal. So that's what he was going for.
It was like, what's that movie, Working Girl, where the corporate raider, where you literally buy a company and strip it to the bone and put everyone out of work. That was some kind of a romantic figure, and
Richard Gere in Pretty Woman. That was his job.
Yeah, like that was somehow an honorable thing, and we can all be rich as hell.
That's also what Mitt Romney did before he got into politics.
Mm-hmm.
Neither here nor there.
Mm-hmm. It's always everybody finds Jesus after they've made their millions, and now they can give it back to charity.
Good thinking.
Good for you, billionaires.
Exactly. But sadly, there was a dark underbelly.
Oh!
This movie.
What? There's a for excessive greed. That's not all good.
No. There's a dark. Like, people interpret this movie not to be about anti-consumerism.
Oh, I saw that.
Did you see that?
The
white nationalists and neo-Nazis.
It's Zionism. It's the Jews. This is all about the Jews, and they're black. Oh God, it's so disturbing. Literally, John Carpenter has to go out. I saw like a Twitter post where he's like, "It is. I've said 1,000 times what it is. It has nothing to do with the Jews." Oh my God, people are monsters. People are monsters.
They are. No question. They live. So now, Kurt Russell, we said, had been in the 3 previous John Carpenter movies he was in.
This was totally a much fatter Kurt Russell.
Well, so they decided not to cast him for that reason, that they'd kind of gone to that well a few too many times.
So they got someone who looks like him.
So they said,
huger.
Who's a big dude with a mullet? Where do I sign? Basically. The other thing, which is kind of interesting, is all of the aliens that you see are played by the same actor.
I saw that too. That's very interesting. Yes. It's not really an actor. It's the head stunt man or whatever.
The stunt coordinator played all the aliens because he fit in the suit, basically. Even the female ones. So if you see the alien,
he's a slight fella.
Evidently, if you see the dude, the lady in the beauty parlor getting her hair done, that's also the stunt coordinator. So there you have it.
One thing I wanted to say, as soon as he put on the glasses and I saw the obey, I knew that was immediately Shepard Fairey. Shepard Fairey stole stuff from this movie.
It's true.
I mean, it is the font. That is the font.
Right. Well, and it's the face of Andre the Giant.
I was just going to say, and it has the wrestling hook, too. It's not the face of Roddy Piper.
Nope.
It's Obey the Giant.
Obey the Giant, exactly. There's
a bunch of those signs on the way to Vegas, by the by.
Of that, there could be no doubt. One thing that I thought was kind of weak is that whenever the aliens were talking, it was clearly somebody like in a mask, like trying to talk. It was like, "Hey, guy, I don't know what we're doing. What do you think we're doing?"
Yeah.
How about just do voiceover, right? Do a little post.
Exactly, because especially it's all weird special effecty anyway. So that was weird. Because, like I said, I really like the part when they pop the glasses and everything is totally stark.
Well, it's black
with
and
the
white.
sign, black and white,
Right.
stark. All the ornamentation is stripped away. Even the magazines suddenly are just these white papers that just say obey or
Yep.
submit or
Right.
watch TV. What were some of the other ones? Do you remember?
There's a bunch of them. I don't remember. Procreate and marry. Consume.
Consume.
Right.
The best one is the one that says, "This is your God."
Submit to authority.
Submit to authority. Those perfect signs for the classroom. Submit to Ms. D's authority. Ms. D is always right.
Is that too much to ask?
What's wrong with that, children?
Now, did you know one thing I noticed that popped out to me immediately when Frank and Roddy Piper are running around the TV station towards the end of the movie, the guards are talking into this crazy communicator. Hey, they're on level 4. No, I see them on level 6. Did you recognize the communicator that they were talking into?
I do not.
It was the PKE meter from Ghostbusters.
Oh, Lord. That's
That
so
thing
funny.
that Egon Spengler would hold out and it would light up. If you've seen Ghostbusters and you've seen this, it hits you like a bucket of cold water. It's just like, were they just going through the old prop room, just finding whatever random crap? How about just some walkie-talkies? They got to use a crazy PKE meter? Very strange.
I'm telling you, if they redid this movie straight, it could be really good.
It could be really good. Excuse me.
It could
would
be
also
kind of Blade
good.
Runner. I mean, they could go like a Blade Runner kind of a futuristic dystopian kind of world with this.
Right.
Even how weird the aliens look, that didn't bother me.
Well, that was done on purpose. John Carpenter wanted them to look like they were the embodiment of corruption, like they were diseased rotting
and cancerous,
corpses.
And
right. That's what he was going for.
Yeah.
During filming, a lot of the homeless people you see in this movie were actual homeless people, and John Carpenter paid them salaries for being in the movie and gave them food. Roddy Piper was very impressed.
I read that he related to that because he'd been homeless before.
He had. And what's interesting is a lot of the stories that Roddy Piper told from his youth were actually based upon his own experiences as a youth.
Poor baby.
Yeah, it's a very sad situation. I think that's about it. Can you think of anything else that you want to share?
All I can tell you is after I watched the Mickey Rourke, The Wrestler, I can't look at wrestling in any fun way at all. It was so upsetting and disturbing.
No, it's rough.
It's
really rough.
And then I watched the family. There was a movie last year about a wrestling family. And I'm blanking.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
You know what
The
I'm
Rock
talking
was
about?
in it.
And they referenced that kind of crap too. Like that's where it was a girl and a boy, brother and sister.
The British.
Exactly, they're British,
Yes.
and it was expected that her brother was going to be the one that takes off, and instead it's her, and he's back home doing all that stuff on The Wrestler, jumping on thumbtacks for a few dollars, that kind of stuff. Oh, I was like, oh.
No, it's a rough situation.
It's dark.
But in all honesty, I mean, not to judge anybody for what they like to do, I haven't watched professional wrestling since 1984.
So you say.
This
could be your dark secret on the dark web.
Look, I read comic books, okay? I watch horror movies and science fiction. I'm not one to judge, but that was a bridge too far. Eventually I had to walk on by. You know what I'm saying?
Foolish pride.
It's foolish pride. Now, what's funny is I'm looking at IMDb and it says, here's a list of people that were considered to play the main character.
Do tell.
Now, considered
Mickey Rourke, Joe Pesci.
Let me just say this. Somebody in their coke-addled mind may have considered these actors, but these actors weren't considering this movie. It was a one-way consideration.
Was it David Hasselhoff?
Alec Baldwin, Michael Biehn, Brian Bosworth, Jeff Bridges, Bruce Campbell, Tom Cruise, Harrison Ford, Mel Gibson, Tommy Lee Jones, Michael Keaton, Christopher Lambert, Stephen Lang, Dolph Lundgren, Michael Madsen, Bill Paxton, Ron Perlman, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, Patrick Swayze, Jean-Claude Van Damme, and Bruce Willis.
I stopped listening after Michael Lambert because he's the the Outlander, right?
Okay, there's nobody named Michael Lambert. There's a Christopher Lambert who was the Highlander, not the Outlander. That's a period romance show on Showtime.
I like to think that Highlander was a period romance between Christopher Lambert and Sean Connery.
I'm the Highlander.
Oh my God, we have to watch that. I haven't seen that in 1,000 years. I'm sure it's just as good as I remember it.
It's a classic. Any last thoughts before we move on with our lives?
Like I said, well, I did read they were going to remake it, but it's not going to be to my satisfaction. And it sounds like it died in committee, but interesting.
Well, anything could happen.
It could be good. It could be really badass, but they won't write it badass.
Well, I think
I'm
it's
very
shown...
disillusioned with Hollywood.
I guess.
I was literally trying to Google this, and the next thing I know, it was kept showing me Little Mermaid live. I'm like, they live, not somehow. Why am I now looking at live action Little Mermaid just because I'm on the third page of the Google thing?
Live action Little Mermaid? You mean Splash?
No. Disney, because Disney doesn't know how to write anything new. So anything animated, they're gonna do live now.
Very good. Well,
so
there you have it.
Bambi live. It's gonna be Lilo and Stitch live.
Why not?
It's gonna be what's the one with the dog and the cat? Lilo and Otis or something.
yes. That was Lilo and Otis. You know it, don't you? No,
Lady and the Tramp. But with a prostitute.
They just, oh no, this took a dark turn. So thank you for joining us. Go to our page on Facebook at The Podcast That Wouldn't Die. Go to our page on Twitter at TPodcastTWDie. And I keep telling you guys, you have to go to both because they're different. I post different things in different places. So
don't even go there. Just go to iTunes and give us a 5-star rating. Kevin's just lonely and wants you to talk to him.
That's true as well. And don't forget to go to the Cult of Aaron for another lonely soul. We're on Apple Podcast. We're on Google Podcasts, Spotify, etc., etc. You can email us at thepodcastthatwouldn'tdie@gmail. So thank you for joining us and be well.
And thank you, the Academy, for shutting out The Irishman because that was terrible. The end.
We won't be doing The Irishman on this show.
The hells no.